Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute since I last uploaded. I don't know why it took me so long to get back on here. But before we jump into this video, I just want to say a huge thank you for all the crazy response on my last on my eyelash video. No clue what happened, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate all those views, all those comments. Like 99% of those comments were super sweet. Just people coming on there, just, you know, giving me compliments and saying how much they love that video. Means the world. So I just wanted to thank you all for that so much. But for this video, we're going to talk about some foundation routines. So I just kind of brought you through the whole routine that I like to do when I'm applying my foundation and some concealer. I hope that you guys learned something as always, and I hope that you enjoy the video. Let's jump right in. Okay, so what I just did is I just washed my face. I use a really nice exfoliating facial cleanser, so that gets rid of all dead skin, any kind of yucky stuff you might have on your face. I like to make sure that my face is completely clean. After my cleanser, I like to use a moisturizer because I have really dry skin, so I like to go in there with a really nice moisturizing serum or moisturizer that you have that you like, and then I like to get started. So first thing I like to do is I like to prime my face. So I like to use a primer to cover up some pores over here that I have. So what I use is the Pores No More by Dr. Brandt. It's a really nice primer to get rid of some enlarged pores you may have. So I like to apply it right here. My pores are really focused on the sides of my nose, which is where most people's larger pores may be. I like to use a decent amount of that. I like to rub it in circles first, and then I like to kind of pat in when it gets enough coverage in there. I like to pat that in. I'll bring it down a little bit too over my lip. Really get that in there. Any excess, if I use too much, I'll put it in between my brow. I kind of have some pores there, probably from plucking my eyebrows. I was told you're not supposed to pluck your eyebrows in between your, I don't know. I do it anyway. So I'll do that side. So I do have some fun little breakouts going on. So I have like they're all healed, they're all gone, but now they're just kind of healing. So what I'll sometimes do is I'll take a concealer that's kind of like the color of my skin. It's not really a brightening one. This one is the Naked Skin Weightless Complete Coverage Concealer. I really like this stuff. So I'll kind of just plop it just for some extra coverage over all my problem areas that I'm having, which is more than I'd like right now. I also, as you may have noticed, have a ton of freckles, and I like me some full coverage. So for my foundation today, I'm gonna go in with the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Foundation Concealer. This stuff is super good for a full coverage foundation, and it has a fun little applicator on, which honestly I'm not too obsessed with because it's not really sanitary, but it's kind of fun to just kind of paint your face with their foundation. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of go in, and I'll just kind of paint this guy all over. It kind of dries quickly, so you know what? I'm just gonna go in with half my face. Then I'm gonna take a nice kabuki brush. This is a Real Techniques buffing brush. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of pat this guy in a little bit. I don't really like to push my foundation around. I like to just sort of pat it. So I'll pat it and really just focus on pushing it into the skin. You wanna drag it down your neck as well. Look at that coverage. No more freckles, baby. Most people don't usually focus on their eyes with their foundation, but because I have so many freckles, I like to just completely cover my whole face so that everything's like a clean, flat slate to kind of work with. So now this foundation's pretty thick. So what I like to do is like I said, push it in with this kabuki type brush. And then what I'll do is I'll take my beauty blender and pick up any excess product, because no one likes a cakey feeling face. So really just spread that out. And once I feel like I've used up what I put on, do the other side. A little bit more on my forehead. I try not to go too overboard with foundation, just because, especially if it's a long day or something, you really don't want too much, because then it just feels cakey and it feels like there's just a ton of foundation on your face, and no one likes that feeling. It just feels kind of slimy and too heavy. So I try to go as light as I can. It's kind of funny for me because I have so many freckles that when I wear a full coverage foundation, I have like no freckles on my face, and then my chest and like everywhere else has freckles. But you know what I was given, so work with what you got, right? Okay, So once my foundation is nice and spread out with the brush, what I do is I take my Beauty Blender, which is a complete game changer when it comes to foundation and concealer, in my opinion. So what your Beauty Blender does is it soaks up all the extra foundation that you may have on your face so that it avoids getting cakey at all. So what you should do when you get a Beauty Blender, which some people don't realize, is you have to wet it. And you don't want to just run it under the water really quick. You want to like run it under there and squeeze it like 10 to 20 times and really get it soaked, let it soak in all that water. Because what it's going to do is it's going to get bigger. So just for comparison, I have this Beauty Blender is wet. Sorry, this is super dirty and gross, but this Beauty Blender is not. So it gets bigger and it gets softer and it gets fluffier. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna allow it to soak up some foundation, but not too much, because if it were dry, it would just soak up kind of everything like a sponge would. But because it's as wet as it can be and as big as it can be, it's gonna soak up not too much of your foundation, but enough to kind of take off all the extra that you may have put on. So I'm just gonna run this over the places that I put foundation, especially here because I have laugh lines here because I'm always smiling and laughing. So my foundation definitely creases here like so bad. So I actually saw a video where you can put eyeshadow primer on your fine lines, and that's supposed to prevent creasing because eyeshadow primer prevents creasing for your eyelids. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'm just gonna dab this around everywhere, especially on the sides of my nose where I know that I'll kind of crease. My forehead, I have some really nice fine lines there. So soak all that up. Okay, so once my foundation is done, I'm gonna go in with some concealer. So my concealer, I use the Tarte Shape Tape. It is this, I don't know what they put in this stuff, but it is the absolute best concealer I've ever used. So what I like to do is I like to place it from the corner of my eye down and kind of underneath my eye and kind of flick it out towards my hairline. So I'm just gonna kind of fill in the rest of that. And this stuff kind of dries a little bit quicker than I'd like, so I just do one side at a time. So then I'll take my Beauty Blender and I'll just kind of dab this into the skin. So you want to focus the point of the Beauty Blender into the corner of the eye, and then as you're pouncing it, you want to bring it back up towards the hairline. What that's going to do is it's going to create the illusion of kind of like an eye lift. So it's going to bring the brightness towards your hairline, and it's going to lift the eye a little bit. So again, you just want to kind of soak up any extra that you got there. I'm going to hit my eye too a little bit so it doesn't look too white and not blend. I'm going to bring it up towards my forehead. Do the same thing on the other eye. Okay, so once that's all set, I'm gonna take just whatever's left on my Beauty Blender. Sometimes I'll go in heavier and I'll put some on my chin and like the bridge of my nose and my forehead, but it's not too bright for me because, like I said, I'm sort of in between tans right now. So I'm gonna kind of pat in wherever else I have left. And then comes the important part. You want to always set your liquid foundation and concealer with a powder, especially if you're going to go in with a powder contour and bronzer and highlight and all that. It's going to blend so much smoother when you have a powder on top of your liquid foundation and concealer. So what I'm doing is I'm using the RCMA no color powder. This stuff is super awesome. It's really cheap and I got this like over a year ago and I still have so much more left. So what I do is I take my Beauty Blender and I dip it into the powder just so that there's enough on there, like a quarter size, maybe a little larger. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look up and I'm gonna tap underneath my eye, and I'm just gonna place that powder right there. And the reason you do this is like I said, it's gonna set that foundation and concealer, and it's also gonna prevent any fine lines from forming. So again, you can even take if you're someone who has a lot of fine lines underneath your eye and you find that they crease a lot, you wanna take that Beauty Blender and soak up, while you're looking up, you wanna soak up all that extra product that you may have. Don't look down, flip your Beauty Blender and just place it there, because the second you look down, you're gonna create that creasing again, and you're not gonna give the powder a chance to really settle into those lines and prevent that creasing. So again, you wanna just always be looking up when you get that powder in there, and then once you place the powder, you can kind of look down. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with over my eyes, because my eyes definitely crease a little bit. And then again, I'm gonna hit those laugh lines that I got. Really dab any extra product. And then once I hit those areas, I don't really use my Beauty Blender anymore. I'll take a big fluffy brush and I'll just use, sometimes I'll use this setting powder, but if I want some more coverage and some more, you know, color to my face, I'm gonna actually do it with a powder foundation. So I'll go in with the Bare Minerals Bare Pro powder foundation, which is actually really nice. I'm not usually a big Bare Minerals person, but I like this stuff. It's not too heavy, so it doesn't feel too cakey. So what I'll do is I'll just tap some of that into the compact and just kind of plop it wherever I want some extra coverage. And then I'm just gonna, whatever's left, I'm just gonna sweep away any extra setting powder that we put on. Just kind of get it out of there. If not, it kind of leaves it is translucent, but it does leave a little bit of a white cast while you put on so much of it. Okay, now I'm just gonna take some more of this powder, bring it down my neck. Isn't that so funny how my face is like completely white and then I have so many freckles everywhere else? And my lips are completely covered. So strange. But yeah, as far as my foundation and concealer goes, that's usually what I do. So now I'm gonna go off camera, I'm gonna put on contour, highlight, eyes, brows, lip, and I'll be right back. So this is the final look. I just slapped on some bronzer, blush, highlight, a little bit, nothing, and then some mascara. This is just the basic look I've been wearing in the last 2 videos I did. So if you guys are interested in it, I can kind of film a whole thing if you want me to. But yeah, this is the final look. That's definitely what I always do for my foundation routine when I'm looking for like a full coverage, which is 99.999% of the time. I hope you guys learned something. I hope that you're able to apply this to something that you do for your everyday routine, and I hope you learned something new. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks. Bye.